quote this on me. There is no way the Orioles or Red Sox make the playoffs this season. There's no way. There's no way.
For me, I gotta build a snowman.
I don't think all Mavs fans look into the stats like I do.
I'm mixing names, swapping pitchers' names, and everyone today. So thanks for catching.
I've given up on Drew Lock. I think you trade him.
I set the bar really low at the NBA predictions.
How are we talking about the Thunder in a MLB preview? I have no idea.
That's a perfect name. What you said, name brand players. Like, it's not the Great Value, Target brand toilet paper or whatever. It's the Charmin Ultra Strong.
I don't know if Nick Nurse is the coach for the Raptors. I don't know if he's the reason why they won the 2019 championship. I feel like that was more of a team effort. Yeah, this questions the firing of Dwayne Casey, who I think is a very underrated coach. He's making the best of the Detroit Pistons situation.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I was surprised that the Clippers gave up Lou Williams.
Everything's going wrong for the Lakers at the wrong time.
The Mavs cannot say we do not miss Seth Curry shooting threes.
Them losing like 40 players to the Chargers who play online.
I'm just gonna, and it lands to the Dolphins. I'm just gonna have to throw my hands into the air.
I agree 100%, and the reason why I agree is because this is a terrible trade for the long term.
To me, the Capitals really pushed all their chips for this season. So happy belated birthday to Madison Bowie.
Sam Bennett's someone I really expected to be a better player.
Hello, I'm Mike Grimes, and you've been listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? We are combining NHL, NBA, MLB, and NFL all in one episode for this week. It's because the Tampa Bay Lightning and Golden State Warriors advancing in the playoffs, the Golden State Warriors making it to the finals, which led to the stat of they have been in the finals 6 out of the past 8 years. So 6 out of the 8 years they've been in the finals. Then with the Tampa Bay Lightning, they've been in the conference finals 6 times out of the past 8 years. Very similar to the Golden State Warriors. So this has led to a lot of discussions. What is a dynasty? Are they dynasties? So Austin and I made a list for football, baseball, basketball, and hockey. When was the last dynasty? So Austin, I'll let you say football, or do you want me to name them all and we'll give clarification with each
Well,
one?
I just want to say one thing that I just realized while you were introducing everything. The Warriors or Lightning have been in every finals the last 8 years because the last 2 years that the Warriors missed it, the Lightning won the championship. So since 2015, the Warriors or Lightning have been in the championship. So it's been a crazy ride, and yeah,
It is ridiculous. Did you see the stat with Andre Iguodala? He has been in each of the finals the past 7 years.
no,
That's
there's
what
no.
wasn't he on the Heat when they went?
Who was he on last year? Not the
Dang.
Suns, not the Bucks.
That stat. Maybe it was 7 years in a row.
It couldn't be seven.
Yeah, it was 7 years
Maybe
in a
it
row.
was 7 years in
It
a
was
row.
7 years in a row. That what StatMuse said. I saw that tweet.
Or no, 6 years, because 15, 16, 17, 18, 19,
19,
20. That's 6.
Then 21 was past year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this is the 7th in the last 8 years. Well, the Warriors have been 7 of that last 8. Iguodala has been in 7. The Warriors have been in 6. He's been in 7.
That's true. Okay. Yeah, I know StatMuse is kind of iffy. Right?
Another thing, Pat Maroon has won the last 3 championships, and if he wins this year, will win 4 straight because he won with the Blues, and so he's on like a wild amount of series won in a row. It's crazy. So it's 4 plus 4 plus 2. That's no wait, no 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2. So that's 14 in a row. That's crazy.
It is wild. But let's just get straight into the dynasties. Football is the Patriots. That ended when Tom Brady left because they just fell off. for various reasons, including Tom Brady leaving. What is your what else would you like to add before we move on to baseball?
Yeah, that's one of the longest dynasties in history, that and the Spurs, but this one was obviously longer because it lasted from 2001 to 2019. You could say 2018. I'd say 2019 because they were a a 3 seed heading into the playoffs, and they still made it. We're a great team during the regular season. Just had a bad. It really was a bad matchup because of how good Derrick Henry was, but I would say that's what ended it. And so, yeah, that's definitely the last one because the Chiefs didn't go to the Super Bowl last year. They've only won one. They've been to two, but that's not really a dynasty. So let's move on.
Yeah, so the next one is baseball, and that's the Giants from 2010 to 2014. Um, I'll let you give more reasoning on that.
Yeah, they won in 2010, 2012, and 2014. That's 3 in 5 years. That's definitely a dynasty. You can't get much better than that. Obviously, there has been, but even the Warriors over their best 5 year stretch, only 3 rings. So that'd be 14. I mean that'd be 15 through 20. They won three, and so even if they won this year, that wouldn't even get them to 3 in 5 years. It'd only get them to well, it wouldn't get them past 3 in 5 years. It'd be 3 in 5 years again because it'd be 17 through 22. They won three again, but yeah, they one of the best dynasties I've ever watched. They obviously beat your Rangers up once, but it was a tough road. But that was a great team, and you don't win 3 out of 5 being bad.
That's very true. And it's just so hard to get back to back and win back to back and then win 3 in 5 years. So, such a long season in baseball, and like it's incredibly long. Like, you have one where you play 162 games, then you do playoffs, then you do 162 games again, and it's just incredibly difficult, and that's why that makes them a dynasty. What do you want to add?
Yeah, and it's probably I know I said football. Yeah, football would be the hardest, and then probably baseball because besides the Giants, if you go past them, when was the last team to be a dynasty? It'd be the Yankees. The Yankees from
That was
Jeter.
going to be my guess.
Yeah,
The
from
Yankees.
the Jeter Yankees. I guess you could count 2009 in that, and if you don't, it'd be from 2003 to 96 when they went to a championship in 96, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, and 2003. They went to 6 championships in I think 8 years, or maybe it was 7 championships in 9 years. It was a crazy number. 96, 90. It didn't go in 97. 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2003. That's six. Yeah, they went to 6 in 8 years. Yeah, it's 6 in 8 years. And so that's just like the Warriors. So there's not that many in baseball and there's not that many in football, but these other sports, there are plenty.
Yeah. So now we'll get to basketball. The Warriors, right now, we talked about it. We talked about the Cavs, how they were always in the finals and they won one. And then the Spurs, of course. I could see someone arguing about the Cavs, but the Spurs and then the Lakers
The
with
Heat,
Shaq and Kobe. Heat, yeah, because they won two in
4 years.
four, and they were
Yeah, they
in
went
it
to the
4
finals four
years.
straight. Yeah, I'd say the same with the Cavs as long as they won one. Many people could say that that's not, but making four straight finals is very hard. I don't care. Many people say that the 2018 Cavs were one of the worst finals teams ever. I don't really care. They made
You
it.
still had to get there.
Yeah, that's still a crazy road. LeBron went on a crazy run. That's probably the hardest one to agree with, but then the Spurs is easy. The the Kobe and Shaq Lakers is easy. Um so yeah, so how many is that in the 2000s if we include the Cavs? So that's Lakers, Spurs, Heat, Cavs, Warriors. That's 5.
That's five, yeah.
And in football,
You only have
it's 1.
one in 2000s. Really, with the salary cap, it's just so difficult to retain players, and then you have to constantly draft them.
In
Like, that's what
baseball,
makes the Patriots so incredible.
in baseball it'd be 2 because it'd be the Yankees in the 2000s because they were part of it. In just 2000s, they won 4. No, I said that wrong. They went to 4, won 2. Yeah. Then after them, the Cardinals won 2, but that was 2006 and 2011. That's too far apart. Then you have a team like the Red Sox who won in 2007, uh, 2004, 2007, 2013. No. So yeah, I would say there's only been 2 really, and we were thinking about the Dodgers, but they didn't even make the NLCS in 2019, and they didn't make the World Series this last year. They'd have to win another, or at least make it again. So now let's move on to hockey.
Yeah, moving on to hockey now, where I could see some people disagreeing with us. The Lightning, it's because they made the conference finals 6 out of 8 years. They were in the finals in 2015, and then they're back to back. But maybe this is how I should have worded it because I was telling you this before we recorded. If the Lightning win 3 straight, I think it may be one of the best dynasties ever. Would you disagree?
Are you talking about sports history or hockey history?
Probably hockey history. I could probably also argue sports history.
Well, the Islanders from 80 to 84 won 4 straight.
Well, okay, but do you think top
Oh yeah,
five
it's up there.
dynasties?
It's up there,
I think it's
100%.
one of the best. I don't know if it's the best, but it's and like
I could also
they
say the
don't.
Red Wings. The Red Wings won 97, 98, 2002, and 2008. I guess that's 4. Yeah, but there's been a lot more hockey, even though I think it's really hard to get a team because the Penguins from 2009 to 2017, and you'd even extend that to now. Then you have the Lightning. Then you have the Kings. If you want to see the Kings who won in 2012 and 2014, and I know they went to the conference final in 2015 and I think 2013. They were one of the best teams in the league from that stretch. And then you have a team like the Blackhawks, who obviously won in 2010, 2013, and 2015. And you have a team like the Devils, who won 2000 and 2003 and also won 1995. So yeah, but this is definitely up there, and it's crazy what we're watching in hockey because I haven't watched a three-peat in my lifetime.
Yeah, same for me. And they don't seem to be slowing down. And they swept the Florida Panthers without Braden Point.
Yeah, it's crazy what they did this past year.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what they do in playoffs now. But now we'll go to the question: what is a dynasty? I'll answer it first. Dynasty to me is, I think, 4 to 5 years. If you get 3 to 4, 3 and 5, I think that's incredible because you're only out of it in 2 years. But you can't just fall off the map for me in the 2 years since. And Dynasty is just a long period of success, and you have incredible success. Like the Warriors have had incredible success with making the final 6 out of 8 years. They did have some incredible teams when they had Kevin Durant, but the way they've been able to play well and then retool, like now you have Jordan Poole, um, also Kuminga was helpful, and then Wiggins was incredible. Just the new parts, but they still have that core. Same with the Lightning. You have Vasilevsky. They're getting new. They're getting new guys to the team with Corey Perry. They just are able to continue to win at such a high level, and it shouldn't happen, but it is happening. So that's what makes a team a dynasty to me. What do you think?
Yeah, and it really does depend because I do think in every sport it can be a different definition. But I would say if you win 2, you'd have to go to 3, and there has to be some addition to 5. If you win 2 and you go to 3, I do think that constitutes a dynasty. 2 out of 3. If you go to 4, I think you just have to win 1 because going to 4 straight is impossible. It is. You don't see it much. Obviously, the Warriors did it 5 straight, The Cavs did it 4 straight. The Heat did it 4 straight. But it's extremely difficult to go to 4 straight. A great dynasty like the Spurs never went to 4 straight. So going to 4 straight, you just have to win one, but you have to obviously win one. I don't care how many championships. You can go to 20 straight championships. If you don't win a ring, you're not a dynasty. Would you agree with that?
I would totally agree because the goal is to get a championship ring, and if you get multiple, that's incredible. I would almost like push back just a little bit on the 4 straight years and only one, just because you got one ring, and that's like what normal teams do. Even though you made it to the finals 4 straight times,
But
I
you
just
could
don't
count.
think
You can count since the 3-point shot was added in 1980. You can count how many teams have made it 4 straight times in one hand.
that's just Cavs. We said Heat,
Warriors,
Warriors.
and then I think the Lakers did it in the 80s.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, we're at 4. It's just the
Because I know
one
that
ring.
Is winning back to back enough, or how close? What would you have to do after like the Rockets, the '90s Rockets, win back to back? What would they have to do to be a dynasty
Would
afterwards or beforehand to meet the requirement?
they got to be in the conference finals a few like before and after, and maybe conference finals and maybe one more finals appearance. It's just you have to be so close to the goal and you have to achieve it more than once is probably my something I would add.
But that's very vague.
Well, I to me dynasties back to back is special, but it you can catch it twice. But if you're catching it over 5 years,
Here's let me give you a 5-year stretch from the Rockets. I'll go from 92-93 to 96-97. Okay, they go to the conference semifinals and lose in 7 to the Supersonics. The next year they win the finals. The next year they win the finals. The next year they lose in the conference semifinals, and then the next year they lose in the conference finals. That's their 5-year stretch. They've been to 3 Western Conference finals. They won 2 finals, and they went to the conference semifinals all 5 years.
I am probably going to say no. It's close.
Why
They
no?
are right on. So it's 2 finals in 2 championship rings in 5
5
years.
years. 3
I think
conference finals appearances, 2 wins, obviously. And they made to the conference semifinals all 5 years.
yeah, it's the 2 finals rings. If they had a 3 in 5, I'd probably go incredible success.
Then why? So what they have to do besides adding another ring? What would they have had to done in the other years? Because we obviously have teams like the Heat, or we have other teams that have only won 2 and be declared as a dynasty.
I don't know. I'm getting more. I don't want to be very inclusive with the dynasties. I think
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that.
dynasty is a special thing because it's not like you had a great you can have great years. Like the 2011 Mavs had a great year.
Winning back
But
to back is special though. Not many
yeah,
teams win back to back.
that is special, but it's still in a short time span.
They won back to back.
Yeah, but that's still only 2 years. I think you have if there's longevity in a team's success, like we're seeing with the Warriors and Lightning, to me that makes them a dynasty because they are exceeding
Well, let me ask you this. Let me
time.
ask you this. Why did the Lightning get included when in 2019, 18-19, they got swept in the first round? They did not win a playoff game.
I keep I keep forgetting about that.
They've only won 2.
They've only won 2, so maybe
And well,
I've been
yes, they
having an
made it to the
ongoing
conference.
debate. If they win a third one, definitely a dynasty. Because you could do 3 Oh, well, they did fall off the map in 3 to 5 years. I think it's the finals appearance in 2015, and then 6 out of the 8 years you had you were in the conference finals, and then I'm thinking they can get a third ring. Because with the Warriors too, the past 2 years they weren't really well. Like they exited in the first round, or they didn't even make the first round because of the plan.
Yeah, they haven't made the
And
playoffs the last 2 years.
and then they were the lottery team. So maybe you can have one bad year.
But the Rockets didn't have a bad year. They made it to the second round all 5 years. They made it to the third round, which is the conference finals, 3 years, and they won 2 championships.
I
There was
think
no
I just
bad
want
year in there.
I want one more ring. That's I think a dynasty is you've exceeded the normal amount of rings. I think
Is
1 to 2.
2 normal?
I think two, like 1 to 2, is like I think a normal range. It's great if
I
you
wouldn't
have
say
back to
1
back.
to 2
Like I think
because
that's
once.
special, but I don't think that puts. I don't think winning back to back makes you a dynasty.
But I added again that they made it under conference finals in that 5 year span. They made it to the conference semifinals twice. It's not like they had a year where they were just terrible.
It's really close, but I'm just gonna keep them out. Like they are right on. If you have the doorstep, they're just like a few, like an inch or two away from getting into the door. But I'm gonna keep them out. That's how I. That's how
So
I
are the
would
Heat
personally do
in?
it.
Are the Heat in?
No, wait. They win. It's 2 out of 4.
They won 2 out of 4 and made it to the finals every year.
I'm gonna say no. I might kick out the Cavs too.
So you think it's 3 rings? That's it?
Well, it depends, but with the Heat, you have 2 and 4. Just not enough because I kicked out the Rockets for 2 out of 5. Or
Well, it
they
was
made
2 out of
3.
2.
Well, two. Well, yeah, 2 out of 2.
And the
But
Heat also won back to back as well.
they didn't win back to back. But I don't. I think I'll kick out the Heat in my dynasty. I'll keep the Spurs. Keep the Lakers.
Well, I mean, the Spurs won 5. You can't really kick a
Well,
team
yeah.
out that won
Well,
5.
and it was just like such an incredibly long time that the Spurs were incredible and they were always in it. So if a team is long success and they have a couple rings, I think that's going to get them into my like. I'm
What is
thinking just the
long?
house of dynasties.
There's a lot of
Like
ambiguity
I
here.
think
What is long?
6 to 8 years is pretty long. I think the cutoff is 4, or not 5. It's cut off in 5.
So 4 straight is not a dynasty. That's not 5 years. They're terrible. Missed the
Yeah, I
playoffs
wouldn't.
every year. What? So you don't
If
think it's a
they're
dynasty?
4,
4
4, no.
straight. 4
It
straight championships and they're not a dynasty?
they win 4 straight.
Yes.
They
But
win
they're
4 straight.
terrible
What?
every year in between. Or the other years after.
I might. They're close, but I think I would keep them out. If it's to me, it's just a short year. It's 4 years. I think is when you can have people on the right contracts. But once you go over 4 years, you have to rebuild, and that's why you kind of see teams fall apart. Like the Heat fell apart because LeBron left, and did Bosch retired?
But that was after. That was
Okay, he was still on. Okay, but with the Spurs, you still had Duncan, you had Ginobili, you had Parker, but then you add in Kawhi Leonard, Robinson. Did Robinson?
yes, he was on
Um,
the team in 99 and 2003.
but then like there are, and then with the Warriors now, you had KD, you had, well, you still have Iguodala now, but it's just a different Iguodala. And now you have Jordan Poole. They change with how the league wants them to change and how the league in tries to have different teams win. But they somehow battle that and keep it going and make it to the finals and win rings.
Interesting. I don't really know how to comment on that.
Well, yeah, I can see your argument, and I understand with that, and I would just go, that's a special team, but I don't know if I'd qualify them as a dynasty.
Then is the Kobe's Lakers a dynasty?
So we had 2000. We have 2000. They lose to the Pistons in 2001.
Four.
4. Okay. So do they win three straight? 2000.
Yeah, they won. They won in 2000, 2001, 2002.
So that's 3, and then they were in the finals in 2004.
Mm-hmm. But they didn't even make the conference finals in 03.
But then I would almost qualify the Lakers that I put in are 2000 to 2010.
They were one of the worst teams in the league in 06. I mean, not 06, 05. 05, they missed the playoffs. The only constant between those teams was Derek Fisher and Kobe, and Derek Fisher left for some of that time. I guess Phil Jackson as well.
But then they won in 2010 and 2009. In 2008, that's when they lost to the Celtics.
Yes.
So you have 2 championships.
But they did not win a round in 04, 05, 05, 06, or 06, 07. How long can you go out without it not being a dynasty anymore?
I think that's almost like 3 straight years of them just being bad.
They didn't win a round those 3.
I'm trying to think. They're close. Because 3 and 5 years, and you're in the finals.
They were only in the conference finals 4 of those years. They're also in the finals 4 of those years. 4 years.
Those years. I think being in the finals 4 of the years, winning 3, and then I would give them leeway in one bad season.
Okay.
Because they won 3 out of 4, and they were in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Because with the Heat, you only have 1 ring. Or you have 2 rings.
Yeah.
Like, back-to-back, I think is special. But I don't know if that automatically makes them a dynasty. That would be my definition of it.
So, is it impossible to be a dynasty with only 2 rings?
Depending, it's pretty close to not being a dynasty with just 2 rings. If that's like your main, yeah, it probably is impossible.
Okay.
I think maybe probably the best dynasty, one of the I think would be an incredible dynasty is probably the Patriots, because it's such a long period and they were almost always in it. Like, there was continued success. There was only 1 bad year, and that's when Tom Brady was out.
They had 2 bad years because the year after they won their first Super Bowl, they missed the playoffs.
Okay, so like 2 bad years out of like 20, almost 20 years. I think that's incredible. And then with the Spurs, they had such a constant, they had incredible success with staying in the playoffs and then winning rings. Because to me, when the teams are at the top, that's why the team always gets like the last draft pick. But if you're able to hit on those picks and find quality players that you use in when you win the next ring, I think that pushes towards your dynasty. You learned how to win when the league wanted you to win, or like wanted like draft picks. That's what I mean by wanted, like not the league tampering. But when the league doesn't want you to win, you still find ways to win the league.
Mm-hmm.
So, any final thoughts?
I'm all good.
Very interesting discussion. We'll see if there can be more dynasties. It would be interesting to see what these 2 teams did, because that's what really sparked the idea for me, and the world as that's happening. So let us know your thoughts. Make sure to check out other opinions of the week, and thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.